Yeah, we got you now, Brian. We got you.
All
I
right.
lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, that's probably my fault. I was closing everything out, trying to make sure all the sound was out, keeping the chat popped out. And next thing I know, I ended up closing out the Hangout. So
That's all right.
My bad. I'm starting off on the wrong foot, but hey, man, thanks for having me. Brown SIMPLEMAN'S Comics, coast to coast, right? You're on the West Coast?
That's right. I'm all the way in Portland, Oregon.
And I'm out here in Southern Maryland. So
must be nice. So it's pouring down rain where I'm at. What about you?
We are clear right now, but tomorrow's supposed to be nothing but rain and cold.
Oh, that's too bad. Kind of like Oregon weather. I'm used to it. We get that like 8 months out of the year, so it's just fine with me. But I'm very excited to have Brian on here. I actually just met Brian just about 15 minutes ago for the first time. So if anyone in the chat's not familiar with Brian and what he does, I'm going to give the floor to Brian and kind of explain what your channel is and what you've been doing for quite a while.
Right. So, Comics with Bueller. I'm just going to call you Comics with Bueller. Or do you want? We'll go.
You can call me Bueller. Is fine.
All right, Bueller. We have been chatting on Instagram off and on. He has a comic book channel. I have a comic book channel. We have similarities and differences, so it was only natural for us to kind of get together and do this live stream. We both have kind of weekly picks with different flavors on it. My channel, I do weekly picks. I have comic book hauls. I do some sideshow type statue reviews and unboxings. Anything kind of pop culture. I'm an 80s kid. Well, late 70s, but I consider an 80s kid. And so anything from that time period, I thrive on nostalgia.
Yep.
So I like sharing that journey and collecting and talking comics and just it. The YouTube channel kind of started by accident. I was just like,
that's how mine was too.
Right. So used to do CBSI. I was in the G plus community. We used to do a lot of Google Docs type stuff, sharing information.
Mm-hmm.
One time I just got really lazy and didn't feel like drafting anything up. So I just kind of did a video for it. Said, hey, these are comics that are coming out that I think would be worth picking up. And then I put it privately on YouTube. And then it kind of started building steam. And they're like, hey, why don't you just do that as a weekly video? So that's kind of how my channel started coming to be when I did weekly picks. And then I was doing previews videos for a while, like comics that were coming out 2 months from then. But it got really heavy and really intense and time consuming. So I kind of laid off the previews videos for a while and just recently started picking those back up again because people kept going, hey, I like these. Yep. What happened to your previews videos? Can you bring those back? But so that's pretty much where it is. Work with comicbookinvest.com community. Haven't worked with Comic Tom yet. Chat with him on Instagram. Great guy. But YouTube as a whole is a great comic community. Love sharing information. The more people you meet, the more interesting it gets. And you find that it's a big circle, but it's a small community, and that's great. And people usually help each other out.
Speaking of Tom, he's in the chat right now. He said, yo, what's going on, Tom? And we also have a super chat from Economics and Comics. I want to say thank you to Bill from Economics and Comics. And just so you guys know, next week, Bill from Economics and Comics is my guest for next week's show. And I'll be talking about that a little bit more later in this show and later on next week as well. But I want to kind of, your preview video. Okay. So you do a weekly preview video of all new books that are coming out. And I do a very similar video. But what I like about yours, and I've told this to Tom, we've talked about it, our videos complement each other very well. Yours is a little bit more detail oriented. You talk about the book, you talk about the artist and the writer and the cover artist and the variant, and also the story of the plot. To where mine is just like, I'm just going to show every book that's like coming out type thing, right, really fast type thing. And I think they work together pretty well. I hope you agree. I don't want to put words in your mouth, so that's up to you. So I'll let you respond to that.
I definitely agree, because where a lot of comments I get is people are like, hey, you didn't mention this book or you didn't mention that book. And my weekly picks is just kind of that. I'd say 90% of them are books that I like. And then I throw in some others that I think, hey, these are ones people should be aware of. My video it's not like solely spec driven. A lot of people
Mhm.
are like, oh, this is stupid. It's not. Well, I'm a comic reader and collector as much as I'd be lying if I say I don't speculate some, but reader and collector first. So I usually like stories I like, artists I like, writers I like, and then there's some spec, and then I'll usually include that in there. Say, hey, I think this is worth picking up because if there is some spec value to it. I kind of avoid some of the spec stuff because
Yeah.
that's really volatile, and there's within that community, it's a great community, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of ego within speculation, and
Yeah.
so I kind of keep it.
There can be.
I'm Switzerland.
Yeah, you're Switzerland, exactly. So I want to jump in the chat real quick and kind of recognize some people in here real fast. There's almost 80 people watching right now. We have Comic G-Man, Robert Galvin, Brett Hess Art, Sam's Tangled Web. That's one of my moderators. His link is down below to his channel, along with SIMPLEMAN'S comic. There's a link to his channel down there as well. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out, but wait until we're done here, and then you can check it out.
Yeah.
Then we have Big Will is in the house. Big Will is an awesome guy. Let's see. William Warner. Hello. How are you? Let's see. There's a bunch of people in here. Wingnut, Brett Hess Art, Economics and Comics. Let's see. Bake the Snake, Red Matos, John's Comics with Kids, my other moderator. Thank you. His link is also down below for his channel. Tim the Collector, Mr. Gretzky 9966, just a bunch of people. Cat Ren Figures, one of my co-hosts on the Comic Core. She's actually doing the hosting duties tonight. Looking forward to seeing how that goes. That should be a lot of fun. She's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's got a really great channel too. I like her reviews. I will tell you one thing that I'm really bad at, which I try to set. I'm bad at commenting back on people's videos after I watch them because I watch them on my phone or something.
Yeah,
I feel super horrible because they comment on mine like all the time. I'm sure you're aware of it. You get like a people that will always comment, and then I'm sitting there watching on my phone, and I'm like, oh, that's a great video. And like 3 days later, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah,
that's a great video, but I didn't tell her it was a great video. So that's my bad, and that's stuff I'm trying to get better with, especially with a lot of the YouTube channels out there.
I'm on the same boat. I watch a lot of videos on my Xbox, like when I'm like sitting in my room or whatnot. You know, the Xbox app for YouTube doesn't have comments. It's just you play the video.
You can like it though, right?
Yeah, you can like it.
So you have to go like more or something like that, and then like it, but you can't do comments.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a little limited. But you brought up something that just a little bit ago about like people saying, "Oh, how come you didn't have this book or that book?" And I'm going to throw something at you real quick, and I want to know if I'm pretty sure you ran into this problem. So a few months back, there was an issue, and this is kind of an insider thing, but there was an issue of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and the cover that was available for the pictures was actually the cover for the previous issue. And do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
And people are like, man, that came out last time. I get that a lot. Or the solicits will have the wrong artist.
Yes.
And you feel like, I usually try to do due diligence. And sometimes I've been really bad where like, it'll have like, the artist's signature isn't, it's, you know it, like it'd be Jorge Jimenez, but the solicit will say like Humberto Ramos or something. And I'll get complacent and say that. And then they let you, the community lets you know, that's for sure. And
they're on it, man. Yeah. They're on it. You know
what? It keeps you honest.
It does. And people are passionate about it. You know, I when that cover came out and I saw that and in the back of my mind, I'm like, that doesn't look right, but it didn't click. And then I went and somebody said, hey, that's last month's cover. And I went and looked and like 6 or 7 different resources and like on the web, and they all had the wrong cover. And I was like, well, at least I'm not the only one. You know, Midtown has the wrong cover, you know, or a preview has the wrong cover. So I felt pretty good about that.
And then I felt good because I caught one because before I put it, Detective Comics a couple issues ago had the same Carmine DJ Domenico cover. And I was like having a deja vu moment. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. No. And I had to like search like deep into the, I won't say dark net, but deep into the interwebs and find the actual cover.
Sometimes you gotta do some digging for those covers because there's a ton of covers and they just keep coming. It seems like. I mean, when you saw all the X-Men variants hit? What were you like? Because I think I had like 26 of them, and there was more. You know, I mean, do you sit there and say, "Well, am I going to show every one of them?" Do you kind of weed some out. Every now and then I'll just weed some out, but not very often because people like seeing all of them.
Right. And then I try to I think sometimes it comes across that I like bash Marvel because it's just my personal opinion where I'm like, oh my gosh, the same amount of covers. And I got into the point where it's like issues like that have like, you know, that start with cover A and they go to like double Z.
Yeah, double Z.
Yeah. I got to where I like will show what I have the art for, but I don't sit there and announce them because I think that gets redundant and it starts getting boring in people's ears. So I kind of that's where I started putting the music into the videos where it's like, here they are if you want to look at them. And then I kind of just play the roll through and let people see the art. But yeah, it gets I don't even know how to describe it, but me as a collector, I'm like, man, so many freaking covers. And there's people at like my local comic book store that they tell you they have collectors for certain titles that no matter what, they order every cover. If it's those remastered 1 in 1,000, they order all of them. I'm like, that's crazy. I was like, I would not buy so many Marvel titles at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we have a super chat in here from my buddy Robert Galvin. He says, "Nice to see someone with a different perspective. Kudos, gentlemen." That's why I wanted you on here because I wanted a different perspective because we both do something similar, but we both found our niche, and I really enjoy that. So, I mean, I want to say thank you to Robert, and also thank you to you, Brian, for being on here and us having this conversation. But I want to get into one thing I usually do is my picks of the week. And I bought a couple books and I just kind of share what I thought. I read them and I got a couple sitting right here. So if you don't mind, I'll jump into them.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So I got a little stack of books. I'm a little behind because I'm switching comic shops right now. And there's some overlap and then there's some I'm missing. So I'm sure we've all been there.
Can I ask you a quick question? Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you have a wealth of comic book shops near you, or are you like one or two-Z, or?
I have 20 shops within 20 miles.
Yeah.
20
I have one in town, and it's the smaller Third Eye Comics, and they have a big shop in Annapolis, and there's like one local. So that's okay. That's usually I go through.
So I met the owner from Third Eye.
Steve, right?
Yes, he came here for the convention, for the retailer convention, and he was with a lady, and they came into the shop I was at. I was hanging out at the shop, and he came in, and we started talking. So I actually know that guy. I spent some time, and he talked about his shop, and he was a very nice guy. And I went and looked at his shop. It was pretty interesting, amazing looking shop to say the least.
Yeah, they're great. They're great people. They definitely take care of their customers. So,
all right. Well, tell them that Bueller says hi. I don't know if he'd remember me or whatnot, but I did meet him, talk to him for about 10 or 15 minutes. So it was we met each other at Comics Adventure comic shop in Gladstone, Oregon. So,
well, you've done more than I have because I haven't met him, but I talk to him like bi-weekly through emails.
Oh, okay.
So well, I'm glad he exists because I was starting to think he was the wizard behind the curtain.
Oh, okay.
Kidding, but yeah,
he had to come all the way to Portland for somebody to meet him, so that worked out. Okay, so one of my picks is Dead Man Logan, and I really enjoy this book. And we actually did a review on this book on White Whale Comics on Wednesday, and it was one of my favorites. And I was surprised about this book how funny it was. There was some comedy in here. And it's basically just your basic revenge story that's going on. Logan has 12 months to live, and he's got some guys to take care of, and that's where it sets off. So if you get a chance to check this one out, it's a $4.99 cover price. All the variant covers I didn't think were that great, so I just stuck with the regular cover. But it's a good read. I'm looking forward to the next 11 issues. And my DC pick, and I don't know if you're reading this one, but I'm pretty sure you probably are, if you're reading any DC book right now. It's the Heroes in Crisis #3. I read this one. Gosh, this book is just devastating, man. I mean, the people are not faring well at all in this book. They are having a hard time. And it's basically, this is a #3 of a 9-part series. If you're not picking this book up, you should. It's by Tom King. And there's 2 different variants for this book. It's a great read. You will enjoy it. And then this one is kind of this is not really my pick. It's kind of my stinker of the week. And, but it's the Stranger Things by Dark Horse. this is a 4-part series. There's 4 different covers for this one. The first one was okay. The second one I liked quite a bit, but then this third one didn't do anything at all to progress the story. And there's only 1 issue left in this series. So it's a real letdown. Obviously, I'll pick up number 4 because it is the last one. But I was hoping for better things for this book. And unfortunately, we did not get it. But those are my 2 picks of the week. And unfortunately, one I was hoping was a pick, but wasn't. So it's kind of a letdown. But did you check out anything this week? Anything on your poll list?
The only thing, I still have to go pick my books up. I got some being held for me. And the one book that I was really looking forward to, I made, of course, the Stephanie Hans Ironheart like my pick of the week in my video, right? Just because I'm a big Stephanie Hans fan. I really like the cover. I liked it better without the trade dress. But outside of that, my pick of the week, Savage Shores #2 from Vault Comics. I've been loving some of the stories from Vault Comics. Issue #1 was great. If you like vampire type stories or ancient civilization type stuff, it's definitely a great read. So the #2 came out. I'm looking forward to picking that up to read it. I got the Heroes in Crisis waiting in my pull box for me too. I'll probably end up pulling it up on the computer and reading it before I can actually get to the store. But
Did you read the first 2?
Yes, and I've read
Okay.
the first 2 of Stranger Things also, and I agree with. I haven't read the third one. I did like #2 better than the first one, and I like the variant cover. I forgot who did the variant, the white for Stranger Things #2. Picked that up, and but the Savage Shores is the one that I've been chomping at the bit to read because great book. Since it's Vault, I find some comic stores order it, some don't. Like the one, like I said, the smaller Third Eye near me doesn't. So I usually email Steve and everyone up there in Annapolis, say, hey, can you bring a copy down for me? And they say, yeah. And then I had pre-ordered 3 copies of the second print for #1, which was the homage to Tomb of Dracula #1. So yeah, I'm a dud this week as far as comics. It's been crazy busy with work and family and kids, but I'm definitely looking forward to catch up.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm kind of, like I said, I'm switching comic shops right now, and I think I missed a bunch of books this week, and I missed a bunch last week as well. Hopefully next week I'll be getting my regular allotment that I normally get, because I'm looking at my pile. It just seems a little thin this week, and there were some good books. So I got to go double check and see what was supposed to be on my poll list and stuff, and see what I missed. And hopefully I can still find them, but you never know with some of those books.
Yeah, I was prepping for this coming week's weekly picks, and I noticed there's a lot of books. Or put it this way, I saved off a lot of pictures for the books that I'm going to be talking about. And I was like, holy cow, there's a lot of freaking titles coming out this week. And yeah.
There's always lots. Man, I think somebody's told me like 300 to 500 titles a week actually come out. I mean, it's obviously variants and stuff like that, and a lot of independent publishers and stuff like that don't get a lot of push. But on an average week, there's anywhere from 300 to 500 comics that hit the shelves every week. So
and it makes it like impossible to read what you want to read.
Yeah,
like much less like pick up a new book to read. But even like the titles that your go-to titles, especially with when they come out bi-weekly, or if you're an X-Men fan and they got 10 weekly Uncanny X-Men's going on right now. And not only the amount they're coming out, but at $3 to $4 a pop, man, it starts adding up.
It does, especially when there's a good chance that books are going to go up to $4.99. It's kind of the rumblings I'm hearing, and I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I don't even use the comic codes that come in it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, there's a comment in here. I thought it was a kind of a cool thing. There's this is from Martin 101. It says, any thoughts on the IDW Spider-Man? What is it and why? I got one for my 12-year-old reader. So IDW has a deal with Marvel to where they'll put out like kid-friendly books, all ages books. Yeah. So I don't know if that's something that I wasn't planning on picking up. You know, obviously my kids are in their 20s or whatnot, but your kids are a little bit younger. Would that be something that you would pick up for them?
So I was looking at it, and then I was looking at because what was it? I think there was 3 covers, right? I think there's the regular and there's 2 variants. And I didn't pick them up yet, but I am excited that my kids are actually excited to go see Spider-Verse coming out in a couple weeks, which Me, I'm like been dying because the animation of that thing was gorgeous. So my kids are 7 and 5. My 7-year-old is just now getting to where he likes to read. He reads a lot of Captain Underpants
Nice.
and Dog Man, which is the same creator, different comic. So Halloween Fest actually took him, and he actually picked up a couple free comics. So he picks them up, and it's like on the cusp. But the problem with the comic book store is comics are towards the back, and the Funkos and the little expensive Rick and Morty $8 candies are all up front. So trying to get him towards the back to get books.
Yeah.
I'm slowly indoctrinating, put it that way. But
awesome.
yeah, I do agree with, I mean, from a collector and a reader standpoint, I think it's great that IDW is doing all ages books, especially to get kids reading, just reading for one, and then into comic collecting for me is close to my heart with my kids. But
well, I know they do the Star Wars as well for them, so that's kind of neat. It's neat to see them I was happy that I did a double take when I saw it when I was putting together my video, and I was like, wait a minute, is that the right one and stuff, because it's Spider-Man, and there's like you said, there's a couple different covers. So I think it's pretty cool that they're doing books for all ages, and IDW does a lot of stuff like that, so I enjoy their stuff.
We have a lot of go ahead. They have a lot of those secondary licenses, right? Where so it's did they do, was it IDW that just did the PlayStation game God of War? Was that, or is that Dark Horse? That was
Dark Horse did that one. Yeah.
Sorry. So don't want to segue out of that, but
we have another super chat from my buddy Robert Galvin. He's a big vampire fan, and you brought up vampires. Excuse me. And he's a big Morbius fan, so he put that in there. He says, yes, anything vampire Morbius. This guy going to be looking him up has my attention, vampires.
Yeah, he's a big vampire. Is great. It kind of it put a twist on things. I mean, I don't want to give the story away. I haven't read the second issue yet, but the first story was great. It really set it up where vampire hunters, and the guy thought that he just threw holy water on him, and he was like, holy water, what's next, garlic? And they're like, no. And it's like the special that set the vampire on fire, and he ended up jumping out the window and had to flee to this other civilization. But it's set up really good. I'm looking forward to number 2. I don't want to keep trying to sell the book, but if you like vampire stories, it's good.
Yeah.
At least one issue.
We got another super chat from JD. He said, hit that like button. I always forget to tell people that. That's one thing Tom's really good at. I always forget, especially in my live feeds. I've got it down when I do my pre-recorded videos. So go ahead and hit that like button. I can't see what the likes are right now because I don't have that screen pulled up, so I don't know how many we got. But JD also says, hit that like button for these 2 community icons. I guess you and me are icons.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, Mike.
Yeah, I have a community icon, but I wouldn't say. I got a long way. I don't ever consider myself that, and I know you don't. I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I don't think you do as well. I enjoy just the community aspect of it, and I will say, your community has grown. Holy cow! Like, within months, you've grown exponentially, and that's freaking awesome. There's people out there that I know that have had YouTube channels, and if they're similar YouTube channels, they like get, I don't know if it's envious or what, but they don't like seeing other channels grow. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I think it's awesome. That's why I noticed when you put on IG, hey, I've gotten this many subscribers. It's like, I'm always like, hey, congrats. So,
I as far as icon go, I have a profile icon. That's the only icon I have. And that's my actual icon that's on my profile is actually a drawing I did when I was like 8 years old.
That's right. I kept wondering what your thing was.
Yeah, it's just like it's like a hand of like the Predator or something like that with a little globe around. I drew it like when I was like 8 or 10 years old, and for some reason I still had it sitting in like one of my junk drawers. I was like, you know what, that's gonna be my little icon and stuff. But you bring up as far as like growth on YouTube and stuff, and my philosophy on growth, and I've said this to a lot of people I've met. I think that our community is only going to grow, and I think the more attention we could shine on it, the better. and I take pride in the stuff that I put out. And I think that everyone who does it, because we are in the know, and there's a lot of people coming into the community that want to be in the know. And I think it's our job to provide the information for the new people that are just finding all this stuff that we've enjoyed for, 20, 30, 40 years. So I get a lot. Oh, we just have a very small community, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit. I think we're a mainstream, and we just have to figure out how to do it better, to be honest with you. So
right. So
that's kind of my take on it.
There is, I mean, there's a bunch of great people in your chat, but one people like Beyond the Blast Doors. I'm sure you're familiar with them.
Yep.
They got a great channel, especially if you're Star Wars fans. Like I said, I'm horrible at commenting, but Beyond the Blast Doors, I do watch a lot of your videos and love your content. I mean, that could be said for a lot of people in here. So I don't want to feel like I'm not giving people love where it's deserved, because it's Cat Ren, Lords of Longbox. There's a bunch of people in here. Comic Tom. I mean,
yeah,
he needs no introduction, right? But, I do like
Big Cat Lion, Tim the Collector, Comic Noob. I mean, it just goes on and on. Retro Tech,
right? And there's room for more. Like,
yeah,
if you're scared to start a YouTube channel, don't be. I mean, start somewhere. I mean,
I'm full midlife crisis mode on my end. I mean, I'm just throwing anything to the wall and see it. Hopefully it sticks.
I just turned 41 yesterday, so I'm just
well, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday.
I'm like probably one of the most immature 41-year-olds out there.
I'm a few years older than you, and I think I might have you beat.
But yeah, man, I'll definitely great people. I mean, it sounds like I'm just doing lip service, but comic community is great, and I love it. IG, YouTube, there's haters out there too, but the community itself rises above it. So
that's right. James Hardy just jumped in there. Hello, James. Nice to have you in here. Prowler, Mr. Garrel. These are all great people, and there's so many people in there. We got almost 120 people watching right now. And really, when I look at the chat, it's just going.
Yeah, I got it popped out, and I'm seeing it scroll up.
Yeah, it's really hard to catch it, But we did get another super chat by Robert Galvin. Galvin's coming in strong tonight. That's because Bueller is the man. What experiences does he know about collecting statues? Has been very interested in that. Cat is awesome. So you have statues, and I was just talking to you before we started. And because I don't have any, I have zero. So kind of share, you had a video today. It was really cool on statues. That's actually an area, if the money was there, I would love to get in there, but honestly, it's a spendy hobby type thing. But can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because I know a lot of people have questions about statues and like the costs and where you get them and all that good stuff.
So I am still fairly new to that. I started, man, it was probably like 3 years ago. Like, I've always been familiar with sideshowtoy.com, and the 6 scale figures, and then the premium format figures, which is like their bigger statues. And then I was like, oh, they're so expensive. And then one night, it was like the Super Bowl, and I was watching the Super Bowl, and the email came across because I'd signed up for their newsletter, and they had a J. Scott Campbell, Gwen Stacy premium format figure. Was on sale for like 60% off, so I bought it. And then that was the worst mistake ever, because once I bought it, I was like, this is so cool. The detail, I didn't realize how big it was. So I went back on the site. So every now and then, about once a year, I'll pre-order a statue on Sideshow. And by pre-ordering it, because they're expensive. The premium format, the 6 scale figures are usually between 170 to 250. The premium format figures, they go up from 300 to all the way up to like 800, and they even have bigger statues.
So are those limited runs? Do they just do a certain amount and that's it, and they're cut off? They
do, and then they'll do 2 different runs. Like, they'll have a regular version, and then they'll have like the Sideshow exclusive version, where it'll be like the Armored Batman had like a regular hand, but the Sideshow exclusive had a hand with him holding a freaking gun or something. And like the Mummer run I just did and put the video up for today, the regular hands, but the Sideshow exclusive had Mummer with the sword in it. And those, if you were in for it for the speculation or resale, the exclusives do go for a lot more money down the road. Like the old, but like they have old like Gray Hulks, old Jessica Rabbit from Roger Rabbit. Some of those, man, they go for $1,500, $2,000. It's crazy. The problem is they're so big and space to put them in, right?
Yeah, well, you have a little display and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, so I went to IKEA, and there's a forum like Sideshow Freaks or something. I just Googled at the time, like, hey, I'm getting a couple of these. I'm running out of space to put them. So I Googled like premium format display, and everyone was using these. They're basically wardrobes from IKEA that would be normally closets, but they just buy the wardrobe frame and then they buy the shelves to put in it. And then they put LED lights and it fits them perfectly. And they go even above and beyond, and they order custom, acrylic doors that slide so there's no dust. Well, those things cost as much as the freaking wardrobes themselves. And I was like, I'll dust. Okay, I'm good with it. But so yeah, they're good and they do good resale value. I have a couple on my page. I have I buy what I like, right?
Sure.
Mumra because of Thundercats. There's a Punisher one that's getting ready to come out that's been like previewed for a while that I'm just waiting for the pre-order, because if I don't catch it at pre-order, I won't get it because I can't afford. I have to get like the 6 or 7 monthly payments at $50.
That's all right.
You can do 2 monthly payments of $200. I can't do that. But they look big on the website. I'm telling you, they're bigger when you get them.
That's awesome.
It's like, holy cow.
That's awesome. There's a super chat in here that made me laugh. It's from William Warner. It's $1.99 for the Bueller Statue Fund. I don't know. What can $1.99 get for the statues there, Brian? Anything good?
It'll get you. Oh, I'm sorry. my screen started going black on me. Yeah, I don't know, but hey, they do have the good thing is keep you going down that hole, the rabbit hole. They do have rewards. Yeah. So when you order stuff, you get like probably like a premium format. You get basically like $20-$25 in rewards back to it, like 30 days later. So yeah,
I'll tell you what $1.99 can get me. It can get me a few bucks out of the 50-cent boxes that I love to
there you go.
dig through and stuff.
Or some of your coffee and comics.
Well, I get my coffee for free now because I have a sponsor, so that works out pretty good to the coffee shop. So I like that. So, and then there's another super chat by OTR Trismegistus. I don't know, I can't pronounce it, but OTR Trismegistus. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, my friend.
That's like me trying to pronunciate artists during the weekly picks.
That's what I do. I'm like, I look at the artist name and I'm like, I'm just gonna skip over this one and just say the A cover.
There's a variant by that guy.
Yeah, there's this variant, but this variant's by this guy, which I can pronounce. And then I've gone online to try to find someone like interviewing this person so I can hear them pronounce their name. Type thing, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But a lot of times I'll just skip right over it.
Like those horrible pronunciation sites where you put the name in it and it'll like pronounce it for you, and you're like, no, that's not right.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work at all. But we got to get to our topic. But right before we get to our topic, there was some news came out just like yesterday that they canceled Daredevil on Netflix. I personally don't think it's a big deal because I think it's just something that Disney is planning on doing with all their properties, and they're going to relaunch it on their streaming service. And also, since they are, I think, majority owner now of Hulu, they might just move it over to Hulu as well. Do you have any perspective on that?
I agree with you. I just hope that, well, especially with Daredevil is one of the shows that I liked, one of the best out of the Netflix shows. So I hope they keep some of the same cast, especially for Matt Murdock, and of course, I'm like D'Onofrio or as Kingpin. But I agree. I don't think they're like gone. Yeah. I did know the guy that the showrunner for Daredevil was upset. He even like pitched season 4 to Netflix like 3 weeks ago. It was all over Twitter. But I agree with you. I don't think it's like disappeared. I wouldn't have a problem with Iron Fist did. Unless they did like a Cage Iron Fist Hero for Hire show and did it that way. But I think that it's coming back because I think that show was too good. even if the viewers weren't there, the last season for the critical acclaim was there. And to me, season 3 was, I liked it better than season 2, but not as better as, I mean, season 1 was kind of the trendsetter for the Netflix show.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree with you. I think it'll either be on Disney Plus or, like you said, I wasn't aware that Disney had owned Hulu. So
yeah, well, with the acquisition of Fox had like a percentage, and Disney already had a percentage, and with the combination, they have the majority. So I could see them just. I actually don't know why they just don't take over the Hulu service, and it's already a platform that's established. They could just rebrand it or whatnot, but that's for other men to discuss and come up with ideas.
But I don't understand why they're holding out now. Why don't they just come out and say Jessica Jones and Punisher? Because if once Daredevil went, I don't see Punisher and Jessica Jones staying.
Well, don't they have the Punisher season 2 already in the can?
Yeah, it's supposed to hit by this year, but
okay. Maybe after it debuts, then we won't, a few weeks later that we might get the word. But I get the feeling that they're taking all their stuff off, and just going to relaunch it somewhere else. But let's go ahead and get into our topic, okay? And I figured you would be great to have on this topic because we do videos about new comics every week, and the topic that we have tonight is new comics versus older comics and back issues. What do we prefer? What's a better investment? What's your take on the current industry as far as new comics is? So what do you prefer right now? Like if you went into a comic shop and they had a both selection of back issues and new issues, where do you go to first?
I would go to back issues. Even though like me, close to my heart is bronze and copper, just because that's closer to like youth and kid, right?
Sure.
I understand like the print runs, if you look at investment stuff, a whole bunch of Bronze Age and coppers out there. But to me, that's still, I enjoy the modern stories, but from a collection standpoint, or even maybe I would even go as far as say for me, from an investment standpoint, I would still go towards, a couple years ago, I was going heavily in bronze and not really touching copper.
Yeah.
And then I started picking up more copper, especially with, me being a Masters of the Universe fan. I've been picking up the stuff that I liked as a kid as toys, like G.I. Joe,
sure,
Transformers, Thundercats. And when I'll either pick it up, I don't want to say I'm a snob, but I look for higher grade just because I know the print run's kind of higher. So it's either higher grade raw, or if I can find a good deal on a 9/8 slab, I've been picking those up. But I do like modern stories, but I think
that's one thing I had on my list. Well, I mean, I heard a few people say that the stories right now, just as far as not only superhero stories, but all the options that we have from the independent publishers and different types of stories that are available are just quite a bit better than they used to be, especially in the 90s. In the 90s storytelling in the early 2000s and stuff, when that market was a whole nother story. But the quality of stories right now for new books are pretty good. I mean, I would you agree?
I would agree, but I also, for me personally, I enjoy reading the stories more from the indies or like Image and indies. I do like I've enjoyed DC stories better than Marvel stories. When you're talking to the big two, but I do still like Marvel, and even though some like I think I like Daredevil from Marvel. That's been one of my favorites. Thor, Jason Aaron's run since like 2012. I've enjoyed Thor, even though Del Mundo's interiors haven't been the greatest. I still enjoy reading Thor. But yeah, I've liked DC stories a little bit better, and I think Image has some of the best stories in comic books, even if the books don't pick up. But the thing that gets me is like, it's kind of a hypocrite to say where like, even if the books don't pick up, but then you're seeing books that amaze me that pick up and they're like going for buku bucks.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I think the writers out there, honestly, the stories I think are better. I think there's a lot of variety of writers. We probably have more variety of writers than we've ever had in the industry, just because it's a different way to produce your book right now. There's different ways of getting it to the market that just weren't available back in the 90s or the Silver Age or Bronze Age or anything like that. So I think we get to see that. So that's one positive I see about new books, just as far as stories. As far as like investment type thing, I think it's the opposite. I don't think the newer books are a great investment right now. I think the only reason you should be getting them for the most part are stories. And if you want to invest in books as far as to make money down the road, I think your best and safest bet would be to take that $5 that you're buying a brand new book and go buy maybe a back issue, or even go dig through a 50-cent or dollar box and find a few books that are maybe worth, $5 or $6 a piece. Is that something you'd agree with?
I would agree with, and it's almost, I always consider it kind of like playing penny slots, right? Because it seems like comic, especially if you're talking about speculation, it's always cyclical, and they're always retconning, and they're always doing stuff. So those stuff you find in the 50-cent box, you put it and hold it. Next thing you know, it's being retconned, and that book was 50 cents and it's selling for $35 or something on eBay. So you sell that and you do that a couple more times. Now you have a PayPal account with some money sitting in it. So now you go let that build up, and then you go buy that silver, bronze, gold, and whatever you want from an investment standpoint. Or if not investment, just something. I have books that I've probably spent more money than I should have for 9/8 that wouldn't sell for crap, but there's some type of sentimental value or something. So it's all what you want with your collection. But I agree exactly with what you're saying.
So do you slab new books, like brand new books? I mean, obviously I think I had a conversation with Reggie last week about slabs, and it's something I haven't really jumped into myself. It's not I haven't jumped into that type of collecting yet. I've had like one slab in my collection and I broke it in half type thing. But so what on new books, like new books that just come out, like something like this?
Yeah.
Would you turn around and slab it and hope they get a 9/8?
I don't really do that. And I'll tell you, not because I'm impatient and lazy. I'll just say, right? Me, if I want something slabbed, I'll go to someone that will have it slabbed already for a decent price. I was doing CBCS for a while, a couple years ago. And of course, anyone that's familiar with that, the turnaround times is an issue right now.
Yeah,
I did CGC before that, especially when I first got back into comics. I was using the membership to get the 4 coupons, would send older books with the 4 coupons, and then kind of send a couple books, but not like some people that they're buku, they're buying moderns and sending them in. You'll see screenshots of like their output of their order, and it's like 30 books. And me, I'm like, man, I sent like 3, but I haven't sent anything for slabs probably in about a year or 2. I had a couple books set aside. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna send these in to get graded, but then I never do.
I noticed you didn't bring up PGX on your list. Any reason there?
I've never been a PGX.
I don't.
Now I'll tell you what though, if there's a book on eBay that I like, and it's a PGX 9/8 or something like that, and the price is good, I'll buy it, and I'll crack it and resubmit it or whatever. But
I had that come up when we and Reggie were talking last week, and there was a 9/8. There was a 9/8 Amazing Spider-Man 300, and for the CGC it was about $3,000, and then the 9/8 PGX, same book, same, I think they're both newsstand, was sold for $1,600.
Right.
So I mean, it just give you a difference there. But we did get another super chat by Big Will, and I don't know if you know who Big Will is, but he's a great supporter of the community. He said, last super chat until February. I agree with Simple Man. You guys are, y'all are awesome. If you get a chance to check out Big Will's channel, make sure you do it.
I'll tell you what,
he's very kind. He's like, you can tell when you watch his videos, very kind man. And I enjoy that.
So I'm going to probably reach out to you, and I'm going to get a list of channels that you recommend, because I'm finding new ones all the time, but I know there's out there some that I'm overlooking, and definitely. But yeah,
I made a list one time of my top 5 channels. Like there was a video like a couple of months ago, and I put like my top 5 channels that I enjoy, comic book channels. And it was a popular video, and not only was it popular, but it was my most thumbs down video I ever got as well. So I don't know. It's so weird.
You did one though that was like a month or 2 ago. It was like comics that suck or something like that. And it was like, or was it comics that suck or comments or haters?
Oh, no, it was I did a series. I haven't done one in a while. It was called Comics with People Who Hate Comics.
Yes.
And this series was dedicated to all the haters out there.
Yep.
The funny thing is, I had actually done that video and it had been like sitting like in my queue for a while, and I didn't release it and stuff, you know. And then somebody said something, so I'm like, I'm just gonna release it or whatnot, you know. And it was a haul video dedicated to haters, but
Yes.
it was very tongue in cheek. It wasn't mean.
Yeah, that's the one I watched a while back. It was awesome.
It wasn't mean spirited at all. It was very fun but like what I did, I went and I literally went to a comic shop and picked up like 20 books, and they all had like you know, like the titles were like Buzzkill, you know. This one is Buzzkill or Black Cloud type thing, you know. And then like
Buzzkill might be worth something, because isn't that like one of what Donnie Cates' first works now?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's sitting in there. And then like the last book was called Ruse, and I was like, hey, I hope you guys don't take it all seriously, because this is all just a ruse. And that was the last book. I
enjoyed that video because I'm gonna watch that. That was a while back too, like a month or two, maybe even longer.
I think that was probably about 3 months ago.
Yeah,
type thing.
I enjoyed it.
It was a lot
one
of
of your
fun.
first videos I watched.
Yeah, and a lot of people watched that video. They got a big kick out of it, you know. And I wanted to do something light, and you know, not, you know, mean spirited, but just to include everybody. You know, it's like, you know what? And I actually had this conversation, and we're kind of getting off topic, which is fine.
Sorry,
I had this conversation with my buddy Sam the other day, and the topic came up of you know, people who, you know, I get a ton of thumbs up, and I get a little small percentage of thumbs down. And I told my buddy Sam, I go, the fact that any of these people that give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down take the time out of their day to spend it with me, I'm grateful no matter what they do.
Yeah.
And
it still shows engagement on your video.
Yes.
So,
and that's the way I look at it. And I said that because I was like, you know what? My dad always said, or has always said, now that he's older, the most valuable thing to him right now is time. That's what's the most important thing to him. And for someone to give me their time, whether it's positive or negative, it's appreciated no matter what they say. And that's the kind of way I look at it. I think that's a better way to look at it than some of the people that get upset because it doesn't do any good. So
right. Yeah, there's nothing. Doesn't. You can't reach through the internet.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, you got it. Anyway, we'll get back on topic here. We're talking about old books versus new books. So when I started collecting, and I just started collecting again last year, people don't realize I literally almost maybe about a year and a half now is when I started collecting comics. And before that, I maybe had one long box full of comics, and that was it. And right now I have, you know, probably
behind you.
Yeah, it's my buddy Sam was over here the other day, and he just helped me go through the collection. There's, you know, hundreds and hundreds of boxes type thing. So I bought a lot of books. But when I first started collecting again, I walked into a comic shop, and I walked right past the new ones, and I went to the back issues and started buying all the books when I was a kid, you know, and stuff like that were still sitting there. You know, I was buying all those type thing. But honestly, I'd walk by those new racks and it'd catch my eye because it's something new. And I stayed away for probably a good 4 months. And now my pull list is bigger than it's ever been. I don't know what to do. It's just like, it's something new. It's sitting there in front of you, and you're paying $4 or $5 a cover price for these books. And I don't know if there's a way for myself to kind of separate and not buy those newer books and just spend my money on the older books. Because I can get, you know, for the $5 I just spent on that new book, I can get 10 books out of the 50 cent or dollar bin type thing, you know. So I think the new books is kind of that catch-22, you know. It's I don't think the value is going to be there like you were saying, you know, as far as the option that you can get. There is going to be some value to some of the variants. I think variants is probably the main thing that might have a little value right now, to be honest. And some first appearances, but I noticed that the first appearances, they pop really fast and then they die off. Yeah. Do you see that as well?
Yes.
Like the Red Goblin.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Somebody
like,
said that was a fart in the wind type thing, and I love that saying.
but then it's always like, what is coming out now that when you're 30 years down the road or something and people are having the same conversation with again and going, oh, well, what? So I don't want to say what you would agree with. Of course, there's none of the moderns aren't going to be worth anything down the road. I do think you're correct with variants. It reminds me a lot of when I collected baseball, football cards back in late 90s which at the time that got me out of cards, but it's not getting me out of comics because once they started coming out with Topps, Fleer, Donruss, and Score, but then they had Top Stadium, each one of those had like
what
different
about
variants.
that Ben McDonald card? How about that one? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's not worth nothing now, is it?
Yeah. But I go in ups and downs with variants sometimes, especially if it's an artist I really like, depending on I'll buy it. Usually I try to buy it for whatever the ratio is. 1 in 50, I try to stay within that $50 range. But if it's something that I really like, sometimes I'll chase a little bit. But I haven't chased Ghost Spider. I haven't chased Ironheart. I haven't chased some of those rags. None of those I've been chasing because I'm anxious to see where those end up. But
we got
those who are selling them and making money on them, kudos.
Yeah, exactly. We got a couple super chats here from Scott Farr. He's got 2 different super chats. Thank you very much, Scott Farr. He didn't leave any message, so I'm just gonna say, Scott Farr, thank you. So everyone knows, and I've said this before, but the super chat donations I get, I'm trying to upgrade my setup. I got a new webcam. I don't know if the picture looks better right now than it used to, but that's from donations I've received from super chat. My next step is internet that I'm not borrowing from someone else. That's a whole nother story. And then after that, I want to improve my lighting and get some nice lighting and stuff like that. So I just want to say thank you. That money goes back into the podcast itself. It's very much appreciated. And really, whether it's $1 or $50 or whatever, everything right now at this point is going in to trying to make more content and make this look better and hopefully get some new software to cut down my editing time. And me and Brian were talking about this, cut down my editing time by like 80% because this thing I'm using right now, it's a time killer, man. It's killing me.
I have a newfound respect for his editing because he uses basically construction paper and Play-Doh. But yeah,
it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. I enjoy it, and that's what counts, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, and this is kind of about old and new comics, and this is a different type thing. But like I look at the books, and one thing I noticed, like the Marvel right now, and this is about the actual quality of the book, the actual paper they're using. It doesn't feel like it's that great a quality. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, Marvel's paper quality on their books has kind of stunk for a few years now, and you'll get a lot of the speculators, and especially those that do a lot of pre-sales, get pretty pissed off over it. But yeah, it's hard. Color rub, color rub happens on a lot of comics, but their paper quality, you'll get. I've heard horror stories about Diamond, especially with Marvel books, and they're just being kind of foobarred. I hope I can say that, but just being kind of messy. But yeah, even just from a reader standpoint, just looking at the paper, it's definitely different. And I'm not a Valiant reader, but I've looked at Valiant books before, and the difference in paper quality is enormous. Just like the print runs difference is enormous, but still, there's got to be something there where DC's isn't as bad. I don't know what's going on.
Well,
but I agree with you
that DC has like a couple different cover types, like their cover types for like say Doomsday Clock, and like the Heroes in Crisis is a thicker stock paper, than their basic covers for like Wonder Woman or, you know, Batman that's coming out. I've kind of noticed that as well. It's what somebody said in there. You can say FUBAR. That's very cool. William Warner said, "You're a veteran, Brian. You can say FUBAR." So there you go. But like IDW, it seems like their quality of book is better. And like I give you the reason I bring that up. I'm sitting there reading a book. Okay, let's say I'm reading Old Man Hawkeye, and I'm holding it, and when I'm done reading it, I got a smudge on my finger from the ink type thing. And I'm like, well, where did that come from? You know? Yeah. And then I look on the cover, especially if I'm holding the cover, and there's a little fingerprint on the cover type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you just have your if you have your hands like that and the back covers on it, you'll get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So they started doing that a couple of years ago, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I've noticed it a couple of years ago. There's a couple of people that are more knowledgeable behind the scenes than I am, that they like. I know they have a couple of different distribution places that they get their stuff from, but there's a story out there of when they switched up and stuff like that. I'm not gonna. I can make one up, but yeah. But I know it's known.
They feel like they have that matte finish to them type thing, to where I'm more of I like the glossy type thing. I mean, you cover it up when you put it in the bag. Obviously, it'll give it that shine, but the book itself.
And it's wavy.
Yeah. They just don't. I don't know. I'm looking at them right now. They're sitting in front of me, and they have that little wave to them type thing. And you know, DC does as well, but I think they're a little bit better. I would say Marvel's right now is probably, and I'm a big Marvel fan. That's the thing, as you can see behind me, it's all Marvel stuff type thing. And you know, I'm a big fan of their product, a big fan of all the characters. You know, I grew up with X-Men, you know, probably you did as well. Yeah. And but like, it just seems like the product quality right now is just in the tank type thing, as far as like overall quality of the book. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not talking about the writing or the art or nothing like that. It's actually the quality of the book. And, you know, if they're thinking about a price hike for a $4.99, give me something that looks a little bit better, that could be a little bit more proud of to show type thing. You know, I just like that Venom annual cover that came out. Okay. The variant, that just, I think the red cover with the Venom. Okay. That's a great looking cover. That would look a lot better if it had the gloss, nice quality finish to it, instead of that matte looking cover to it. So I was a little disappointed, to be honest with you. Did you pick that one up?
I did pick that up, and I was actually looking, just because I like the cover so much. I almost been looking kind of for some cheaper, a 9/8 copy just to have to put away. But yeah, I mean, I think at some point, Marvel's only going to have one writer. The way it's been going.
Donnie Cates, is that
Donnie Cates, and then Jeff Shaw doing the covers, right? But no, he's writing some great books. I do look forward to picking up. I do want to read that the new Wolverine that you just picked up.
Yeah, that was a good one. I enjoyed that one. You know, Donnie Cates he's putting in work, man. I take it you're a fan of his?
I am. And I like it, and I like all the titles, but I also worry at some point there's got to be a fall off, right? I mean,
yeah,
I enjoyed Redneck, I enjoyed Baby Teeth, and then started getting over to the bigger titles, and then it's like, okay, Venom, and then it was Thanos, Venom. I mean, was it Death of Inhumans? I mean, there's a lot of books he's writing. If he can keep it up, that's great. I just hope there's not a fall off in content.
Well, I know he's gonna writing the thing for God Country, because it's got option into a film from what I understand. So, I mean, the guy's a busy guy. I mean, he took some time out of his day to talk to me when he was
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, at Rose City. And so it's funny because I interviewed him, and it was really quick. You know, I was in and out of his time in like 10 minutes. His girlfriend was there, and I knew that was his girlfriend. And she's an artist, and she's great. And Megan, I always pronounce her last name wrong. It's Megan Henderson or Henriksen. I'm not sure. Anyway, I did an interview with her as well, because he's like at her booth the whole time. he's there. He's just hanging out at her booth. And she was great. And I've actually chatted with her a couple times since then. And I don't know. I've tried to chat with Cates, but like I said, the guy's a busy guy. You know, he's doing a lot of things. But I was going to say, there was an interview that one of our fellow YouTubers did, Pope Grimy. He did an interview with Donnie Cates like a couple weeks ago that he put on his channel. So if you guys haven't checked out that, I don't know if you've seen it there, Brian. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I'll check it out, definitely.
Yeah, it's Pope Grimy. That's his YouTube channel. He did a sit-down interview for like 10 minutes with Donnie Cates, and he did great. He knocked it out of the park. You could tell he was like he's a huge fan, you know, and when you're sitting next to someone that you're a huge fan of, you're a little nervous type thing. But I thought he did great. So I like it when people put themselves out there, you know, because it's easy to not do it and just kind of sit back. But when you put yourself out there and you hit the ball out of the park, I think it's pretty awesome. So if you get a chance, go check it out. And everyone else, go check out Pope Grimy. I'm
definitely going. And I also noticed like a lot of times when you talk about being nervous like that, once you get into, it's like that goes away, and next thing you know, you're just having that conversation with them, and then it turns a lot of fun. It's fluid and not rigid, and so once
you're talking about comics, which is like what you like to talk about. You know, I've interviewed a couple celebrities, and I'm like, I don't know what to talk to them about, you know, because even though they're at the Comic-Con doesn't mean that they're in the comics. But at least I know that. You know, Jerry Conway is in the comics, or Jim Starlin is in the comics type thing, you know. So at least we have that common ground. So, but we got a couple other super chats also from Scott Farr. Thank you so much, sir. He's got a few different super chats in here. He's lighting it up. Look at that. Appreciate that. Let me kind of look at some of the comments here because we're going to kind of wrap it up. And it looks like we have Jeffrey Comic-Con Henson. He's in here right now. That's awesome. Let's see. Nunya Bizwax. that's a name. That's pretty good. I like that one. Grateful Jeff. Hello. And let's see. I'm just kind of scrolling. Tony Sanders. How you doing, Tony? Then we got the SIMPLEMAN'S comics. He's in my chat. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Let's see. Big Will. I'm just kind of scrolling up, seeing everyone. G Marie. Just a bunch of people in here. So anyway, I think it's easy to say that obviously the better investment right now would be the older comics as far as what the new one's coming out, but just because of that, even though there's not as much of a print run as there used to be, I just think it's just a safer bet to go with older comics, and you can get it for cheaper, and you already know. I think it's a safer bet because you already know when you go and buy that book what it is type thing, and. I mean, is that a good assumption? Yeah, and one thing that I'm really incompetent on that I'm trying to get into more is like actually golden age comics, right? I think we know a guy that's trying to cover that subject. Yeah, so we've been I've been trying to bone up on some of that a little bit more, but yeah, for investment purposes, I'm not saying down the road modern comics won't be worth investing in, or you know, it's not worth buying stuff now to invest in down the road, but I still think older comics are a better investment. And they're just nostalgic. You can and from what we talked about just a little bit ago, they're also a little bit better quality in comparison to what the current books are. But like I said, I think the stories right now are probably in a place that they haven't been in a long time. So I'm enjoying that. Yeah. And I think it'll come to that because I think part of the reason why, from my own opinion, why I'm saying, hey, the older is because there's more of a history from my standpoint, right? There's more of a history there. There's more of that aura. Yet the artists, the writers, where some of this now is new up and comers that are great, but down the road, they're going to be having that same conversation about that history from right now. Oh, Donnie Cates, and who knows? They'll be anxious to see, right? Exactly. It's a good time to be a fan of comics, to say the least. You know, especially since every comic gets optioned. Exactly. It's like there's another YouTuber, Daz the Key Chaser. Okay, and he does a hot book alert like every day, and every time I watch, it's like a little 2-minute video. And every time I watch it, he's like, oh, there's something new on the movies or there's something new on the TV. And that's all it is. It's all just like there's an option or someone's doing a remake or something like that. It's all based on Hollywood type thing. And that's where we are in the industry. Everything is based on what's going on for the most part in Hollywood, I think.
So I was looking, there's a question in the chat from Ruben Neves. Say that question, you guys are talking about the quality of paper when you're putting it in a bag and board. Is there any way to prevent that? Is it is talking about tearing or rubbing or
let's see. I think he's probably talking about, let's say, hey, had a question for you guys. I know you guys are talking about the quality of paper when you're putting in a bag and board. Is there any way to prevent that? I don't know if I'm getting that right.
Yeah. So imagine
is it rubbing or just a like a tissue type paper type thing to where it might tear? I think pretty much you just have to be careful. Yeah. And one of the things I do is I've switched up to I used to always use like the same size bags and boards for like the age group of the comic and stuff. And now I've gone to just using silver bags and silver age bags and boards and putting all my books in silver age bags and boards. I think it just it frames it better. And another trick that I use is if it's like a major book that might have a value to it or either sentimental or monetary value, I put like 2 backing boards into the bag and then put the book in front of that type thing. And then it just holds it a lot more firmer in place. So I switched to that. I used to just do, modern age with modern age and silver with silver and golden with golden, but now it's all silver age for the most part.
Yeah, I started doing the same as well. Of course, I still have a bunch sitting in my that I need to switch over.
I'm not switching over. I'm just going from now on. There's no way I'm gonna go backwards and switch over. That's too much work. Yeah. But you know what? I think, like I said, I think we should wrap it up. Yep. It's been a little bit over an hour. So Brian, I'm going to give the floor to you. Kind of let everyone know what you have coming out over the next week or so, and just kind of remind everybody that might not be familiar with. And if you're not familiar with Brian with Simple Man's Comics, you should be, because he's doing the work and he's doing a great job. But Brian, the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, first of all, definitely thanks for having me. Hopefully we can continue to do something like this again down the road. But I am, of course, December previews is getting ready to come out, so I'm gonna try to knock out a previews video for. I used to, when I first started doing it, I did like one long previews video, and it was so long. It's like the audience retention was like a third of it. So I started breaking it up by DC, Marvel, then maybe indies or Image, and then indies. So I'm gonna start working on those. My weekly picks for next week should go live tomorrow. I'm trying to get to, I want to do like a Christmas gift giving video, but not towards the audience. Isn't us. The audience is more like the girlfriend or the boy, the loved one of, hey, I have a Comic Geek loved one, but I don't know what the hell to get them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I've had that idea in mind. It's just finding the time to get down to record.
You can always buy them bags and boards, man. We always need bags and boards.
Yeah. Because my wife actually gave me that idea because she's like, I don't know what to get you. And I'm like,
yeah,
Funkos, I don't know. So, and then I'm trying to do a couple more haul videos because I've been really slacking on that.
You got kids, man. You got to take care of the kids, and all that stuff. And
I think some of the stuff I buy isn't a haul worthy. I mean, same stuff everyone else is getting type thing, or so, I don't know, but yeah, I need to try to. You and Comic Time, you guys are smashing it with content, man, and huge kudos to you guys. Love seeing the content. Instagram, love chatting with everyone on here, chatting on Instagram, chatting on YouTube, chatting in comments. But bottom of my heart, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate having you on. Let me just kind of give people an update of what's going on my end. Like Brian said, he'll have his preview video out tomorrow, correct?
Yes.
Okay, tomorrow. I have my giveaway will be, and I'll be doing the drawing on Monday on my coffee video. If you haven't entered the giveaway yet, all you have to do is go leave a comment on one of my coffee videos that comes out every Monday, and that's all you got to do. You're entered. And then I'll be doing the drawing, the giveaway for that on this coming Monday, and also start December's drawing or giveaway because we do it monthly, and I'll show you the prizes for that as well. I want to say thank you to Brian. Next week, my guest will be Bill from Economics and Comics. And I think I narrowed down the subject with him because he does a lot of videos on speculation of new books. And I think it's going to be a great speculation topic. And that always ruffles some feathers. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the week after that, there's someone coming back. At least I think he's coming back. Comic Tom will be back in 2 weeks on the channel on Friday night. And we're going to be talking about a topic. And I'm not going to say it yet, but it's something that me and him do not agree on, and that'll be a lot of fun, and it should be a good time. But next week, I'll have Bill from Economics and Comics, and he was in the chat, so check out his channel. And also, thank you, Brian. Brian's link is down below. Thanks to my moderators in the chat, Sam's Tangled Web and John's Comments with Kids. Both those links are down there below. Don't forget to like, subscribe. You guys know what to do. We'll see you next time.